All right. Good morning, evening, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Morning, Fong. Or well, it's not even morning here. It's about 6:47 in the evening. Christina, hello, hello. Michael, what's up? That was epic. What's up, Dawn? Tyler? Good morning and good night. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what's up, Andy? Good talking, bud. You made some? Made some what? Did you make some soup? I actually have. It's dinner time, and I was getting served up some soup that we made, and so I'm probably going to be eating some soup while we're talking, just for fun. On perp, excellent, 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 excellent. How's everybody else doing? Made 50K, nice, Fong. Where'd you get in? Just on the pop, or have you had that position open for a couple of days now? The market's been putting in some good moves. What's up, Wes? Guys in the Slack chat room asked me to do an extreme stream. Extreme stream! So we're going to be doing an extreme stream here today. Although everybody was posting every other shiller on the planet, I guess I'm just another shiller out there in YouTube land now. But hopefully a little bit different from some of the other people. So spread the video around if you guys know of anyone that is listening to someone that's stupid. Go ahead and share the video. Like the video. Thank you for chatting, everybody. Yeah, so very nice pop on BTC. The markets have been putting in some really good work. And we're in an interesting situation. We've been talking about Wyckoff accumulation. My last video was a little bit of a parody about Wyckoff accumulation, but I did say that I think we were in it. And I do have to admit, towards the end here, we were starting to prepare for a breakdown. Fortunately, that did not happen. We ended up rallying back pretty substantially, as you can see all the way up here, culminating with this really large pop. Do I think it'll pull back? So I don't really have an opinion on that at the moment, Fong. What I'm looking for right now is for if it does pull back. That's really what I'm looking for. If you like your 50K profit, you can consider taking some off of the table if that's something that you're concerned with, losing some of that. I'm hoping right now that we stay strong like this. I really like the I really like how volume came in very quickly and just popped it up. I wasn't here for the pop. I was actually watching the new Black Widow Avengers movie. Pretty cool. Or Marvel movie. Good movie. Seemed to be a bit of a different pace from some of the other ones, but pretty good overall. You shorted on the perp on the top up here? Okay. Yeah, there seems to be a few people that took that trade. They posted some over there in Slack, and it looks like one guy already closed out a trade for a cool 850,000. So yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of a pullback when you have a move like this right here, and you're seeing that in the moment. What you want to see though, ideally, is us just to hold really tight. If this move is going to continue, you don't want it to pull back a substantial amount. If it pulls back substantially, that implies that there's more selling pressure than buying pressure. And while there was enough pressure to push us upwards, if more selling pressure steps in at the exhaustion of the move, it can fully retrace the move, and that would put us right back into the sideways choppy area, which we don't want to be in. If we were to, now keep in mind, this thing just happened at the start. You can even see here on the 2 hour, it just, boom, started right on the open of the day. If we close all the way back down, that's going to be a pretty key reversal. It'll take out a few resistance points we've identified. One at the 36,639. This is, let's go full screen on this guy for a minute. Let's get rid of some of these lines. I don't remember where oh, that was when we were doing that. Get rid of that for now. Rid of some of that. So these were our two resistance lines that we drew in the power hour. Actually, we drew this one yesterday. This is based off an Ichimoku cloud. I've recently been introduced to Ichimoku. Pretty cool system. I'm not mad at it. So we're looking at it every once in a while, and we were looking for this as resistance, and this is what we had as resistance, kind of in the middle of this. Whatever you want to call this. We actually yesterday started calling this an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and as a matter of fact, we talked about this in the power hour. I don't know, how long did we talk about? Like a month ago, 2 months ago? We talked about this a while ago, when we were kind of, looking on the way down here, maybe we were going to drop. This was obviously before the drop. We were kind of up here in this area, and we were talking about, okay, if we do go into a bearish scenario, what could that look like? And the only thing I could think about with Bitcoin, because keep in mind, most of Bitcoin's tops have been parabolic tops, both in 2013, 2017, even 2019 had a little bit of a parabola to it. But the pullback in 2019 is what was different. This was unlike any bear cycle in Bitcoin prior, about a 54% decline over a period of time. And I was thinking, okay, well, if we do top up here, maybe this top that's a little bit malaised and sideways, very unique to Bitcoin and very different to Bitcoin, maybe we only drop about 50% and we change how market cycles work in Bitcoin. I think the reason that could happen, and I've been hypothesizing this now for a while, ever since this bear market happened, actually, we've been loosely talking about it. Obviously, with the euphoria of the bull market, you kind of forget sometimes about the bear cycles, but we've always circled back to this as a change in behavior on Bitcoin's overall market cycle. And this one was unique. If you look at all of the prior cycles in Bitcoin, everything had a parabolic top and an 80% decline. Every single one of them. I mean, that's essentially what my target down here was based off of when we were coming all the way down from the parabola in 2017, is an 80% decline. Hell, it did it like 3 or 4 times before. Why wouldn't it repeat? And then we went on to change that. We had this beautiful run. Bitcoin had never really had a run of this stature, about 350%, without a major decline of 80%. Did that once, I think, prior to 2013. And it was pretty quick decline, but it happened. And then here we only had a 50% decline. So Bitcoin, boom, changed its behavior right here. You can almost argue we're kind of two different Bitcoins. At the same time, we never really had a capitulation candle down here, which was also unique. So after this time frame, things have shifted. And so when we were up here, we were talking about, okay, maybe we drop about 50%. And hopefully you see where I'm going with this. We said maybe we drop about 50%, and then we kind of curl back up slowly but surely, really similarly to what we did here. If you go back and revisit, there's actually an inverted head and shoulders here, which we had in the show in real time. Actually, we were looking for the right shoulder before it happened. Fortunate enough to get it. I think a lot of people did get it. And then we were able to rally back through, had alerts down here, had an alert up here for a very traditional entry point on an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And then lo and behold, up here, what did we see? Now, I caught this a little bit late. I didn't notice it in the moment because I'm usually on this chart, which there was a couple other trend lines. And sometimes the trend lines obfuscate some of these patterns. And I'm like, this has got to be like one of the most Quasimodo inverted head and shoulders pattern I've seen, but it's there and the volume signature is accurate. So, hey, why the hell not? Why can't this work? And it was already broken out. I think it was it was yesterday, I think. Yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday we talked about this. At the end of the show, I'm like, holy crap, like it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It just hit me and I was like, all right, maybe this is for real. Maybe this is over. We talked about Wyckoff accumulation. We talked about, something that we talk often in the show, and something I've noticed in the markets generally for long periods of time. This goes for stocks, cryptos, almost anything you want to apply it to. If you can't go lower, you typically go higher. And I know that sounds weird to say it. It sounds like a little bit like common sense. But when you've been looking at price action long enough, you're just noticing something can't go lower. And so if you're looking at Bitcoin right here, while you're scared and you're preparing for a drop, you're looking at it going, this volume sucks. Like there's no real pressure here to the downside. So you're waiting for pressure to come in, but then by the time the next day comes, and this also, this day right here also was a follow-through day for us in the power hour because it was a follow-through day. So a follow-through day is the indication of a potential new uptrend. And it's one of the main signals that we look for. And it usually doesn't come in this low. So this was a little bit of a gift. And that was kind of that was a really nice signal, the follow-through day. And fortunately, we didn't have any distribution days thereafter, too. So a couple of good signatures here for Bitcoin. And so you have the inverted head and shoulders, the inability to go lower. When you do try to go lower, it goes lower on lower volume. Something else that happened that we've been watching for a few months now, as a matter of fact. I'm not a major RSI guy, but I do believe in trend lines. And if you've been noticing Bitcoin's RSI, it tends to put in these kind of long malaised downward sloping trend lines. And every time it breaks one of these, it tends to do something. Each one of these was some type of a run. You could even consider this a trend line, even this smaller one, even this smaller one. But what's been happening here? This was one of the first tops on January 9th that we topped out on BTC. And obviously that gets a little janky. Is my chat still working? No one's really chatting. Guys, hit the like button if you're with me. I'd appreciate that. And we'll see what the YouTube algorithm, who else it shoves the stream in their face. So there's the high that right there that the RSI kind of started drifting away from. So I wasn't really looking at RSI up here too much. We did note the divergence. And we've been looking for, all right, cool, Andy. And we've been looking for, even since here, we noted this trend line on the RSI. We noted that trend line right there. And we're like, okay, cool. Well, if we're going to get this trend line break, then we'll probably have a nice move up. Well, it never transpired. The trend line break never happened. It ended up, chopping around, actually went all the way down here, obviously on the drop, right? Like, of course, the RSI drops on that drop. And then we curl back, hit this trend line, say, okay, maybe we're done. We hit our resistance up here, hit the RSI trend line, maybe we're done going up, and we were. And then we've just been kind of chopping around, and we're like, okay, well, what's this doing? Well, it didn't do anything, really. It did nothing. So so we topped out up here. It rolled over, had the undercut and rally, or the spring. I mean, whatever you want to call it. There's thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Sling. Yeah, so it had the undercut and rally, spring, whatever you want to call it. Okay, it happened. We bounced up. The volume was great, looking great for a bottom. We were hoping we would get some action up here, and that's when we put this 36. 36 was that the time? Let me see. I don't want to. Yeah, I think we were around here, so we were probably a little bit lower, something like that. But we had it in this area, this whole consolidation to the breakdown. We also had, I believe we had this area as well, but that obviously got negated pretty quickly. So you're checking for areas. If they get chopped through, you just delete them. And then over here, what happened is boom, we hit this, and then we rolled over. And so this was our level. And I know for a fact when we hit here, we had the 36,639. That's been there for a while. I'm a little bit high on it, but it's all good. Anyway, so let's get rid of that one because that's our level right now. And then we just rolled over, and then it was just lower high after lower high. And then the RSI also, like I said, just kept riding underneath our trend line here at the top. And we're like, man, this thing breaks out. This is going to, start a pretty decent sustained rally. And it actually broke out right on our trend line break here, which is also your entry signal for this inverted head and shoulders. I mean, everything just kind of coincided right here. And then you start to move up, and then you end up today, which is obviously a nice pop to start the day out with. I mean, I don't know if the buying pressure is going to continue because it's really not that huge. It looks like more the selling pressure has abated than the buying pressure has increased. And those are important differences. Those are very important differences to note, because if you have a tremendous amount of buying pressure and it's consistent, you know what that looks like? It looks like this. It looks like these rallies right here. Your volume stays elevated. Price continues to rise fairly nicely. But when you're in a situation like we're at now where our volume really isn't to be found, it'll step in at some point, but it's not here yet. Okay, so we're likely to chop around for a little while, but this whole sequence in the past 4, 5, 6 days, really excellent price action. This is what you were hoping you were going to get out of this low. Because keep in mind, if you were looking at Wyckoff accumulation, and now let's be honest right now, say yes in chat or type something if you thought that any of these lows was going to be our test. And since everyone and their mother right now knows about Wyckoff accumulations, everyone pretty much should know what the test is. Because we had the low here, this was your spring, so now you're looking for the test. Boom, boom, boom. I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought one of these three was the test. Well, lo and behold, Wyckoff had something up his sleeve, and right there, our test was was a little bit later than that. So no one thought that was the test. Okay. Thoughts on Doge? Let me take a look at Doge real quick. Doge generally, I I'm okay with Doge. I have to say it. I'm okay with Doge. I'm an Elon fan. Okay, not really a fanboy, but a fan. There's a bit of a difference. I do have a realistic take on Elon and what he does in his tweets, and I have a realistic take. But I do like the fact that Elon, when he picks up something, he generally owns it, and he doesn't own too many things. And if he's taking ownership of Doge, I do think that is good for Doge. From a technical perspective, we have found a low. Does it mean we rally directly back up, into the 30, 40, 75 cent level? Probably not, but could this be the low? This could be the low for Doge. Absolutely could be. What's going to spark its next bull run? I'm not sure. I don't know what could spark its next bull run. I do think though that if you're trying to pick positions and you think this general macro bullish cycle isn't over with yet, then I think Doge will participate just kind of like the rest of things. Because he's a billionaire, his words are more effective in the marketplace. I don't think it's because he's a billionaire. I think it's because he's Elon Musk. You have to understand. I think you have to understand what Elon represents. I think you have to understand why people love him. Like legitimately, there's people that love Elon Musk. I mean, I'm right on the edge there. I mean, I really, really like Elon Musk. He's not a perfect human being, but you know, he does his thing. He does it really good. Tesla's amazing. SpaceX is amazing. Our world's different in 20 years because of Elon Musk, and if you don't and you have to respect that, if nothing else. Doge don't have programmers, no projects active. So yeah, there are some programmers. I in the middle of the pump over here, we did a little bit of research into Doge. There is a programmer that jumps on and off of Doge. He's not necessarily dubbed the lead programmer, but he's a guy that does keep it somewhat active, and he tries to keep it secure and all of those things. And I mean, if Elon decides to do something with Doge, and that's been one of my theses behind why he actually invested in Doge, because it makes no damn sense unless he just bought it super low and just pumped it just so we could have a couple extra billion, because why not? One of my theses was he could try to co-opt it, and he could try to do something monetarily with it at some point. I don't know. There was that B conference that he was part of with Kathy Wood and Jack Dorsey. It was okay. The conference was okay, but it was hey, what's up, Batman? It was it was okay. I mean, they didn't really say anything that wasn't already known, but you do know that Elon owns Bitcoin and Elon owns Doge, so that came out of the conference. But past that, I don't know. But I mean, Doge had a big pullback. It's still up above all kinds of lows, so technically this is still a very much alive coin. Do you see the shirt he wore at the conference? Which was it? I saw it, but I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was, but I did see it. So I like what you said about the way we topped out at 65K this time as opposed to the tops prior to 2019. Looks like different price action. Well, that's it, Alex. It is different price action. And that's the key right now. The key right now is to understand what the market, well, at any time in the market, is to understand what the market's doing and try to position yourself the best way that you can. So that's really all you can do is try to do that. Yeah, that's it. When you go into choppy markets like this, it's really easy to take a lot of positions and think we're gonna continue on really quickly up or really quickly down. And if you take a couple of shots here and there, I don't think that's such a bad thing. But I don't think you should be trading something like this every day or even every week. You should do it when the market is telling you something. So if you're looking for a breakout up here and it doesn't happen, you're not trading it. If you're looking for a break down here, you got stopped out, which is the game, right? And then maybe you longed it on getting stopped out, and maybe you closed it or maybe you didn't. And then maybe on the failure here, you went long, you have an opportunity to long. So there's about 4 or 5 opportunities probably for relatively opportunistic trades in this choppy area. But if you traded more than 4 or 5 times, you're probably trading too much. There's going to be some traders that are going to say even that's too much. And to each their own. I know a lot of people took a lot more positions in this trying to catch stuff. And I know a lot of people took a lot fewer positions because they were just kind of done with it and how malaised it was. So to each their own. But I mean, if you're trying to be a swing trader, keeping up with the markets, you're taking your stabs. You're taking your stabs, and that's part of the game. What you have to do is make sure those losses that you take are really, really small. So when you get the big trend, you have a really good, you have a big enough account to continue building off of. Your short perp is making now, pulling back. I'm not sure what you mean making now. So there's the 2 hour chart on Bitcoin, and it's holding pretty strong. You can go to the 15-minute for a little bit and see what's going on. Topping candle there, declining volume, selling pressure stepping up here. So profiting now. Okay. Yeah, what you don't want to be caught involved in though, Fong, is a situation where it goes to chop on, consolidate, and then it'll turn up on you relatively quickly. So just understand your exit position. It sounds like you know what you're doing, so I'm not super worried about it. So yeah, I mean, good pump on the markets. One thing to look at too is Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance here. We've been looking at this in the past several days and wondering, okay, this is looking pretty bullish for Bitcoin dominance right here. This implies that the altcoins are likely to languish a little bit more behind Bitcoin, and because usually the market, if the markets are rallying, generally most of the coins will go up. There's some times where Bitcoin rips everyone's faces off, and there's other times when altcoins rip the altcoins will rip off Bitcoin's face. But in this situation with dominance looking the way that it is, it really looks like we are poised to have a nice Bitcoin rally. Now you're going to get one or two altcoins that are going to kind of keep up with Bitcoin, but for the most part, Bitcoin's probably the safer bet. And I would argue if you're going to take an altcoin trade, probably trade it against the Bitcoin chart, because if you want to settle into something, you're going to want to settle into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin appears to be back in an uptrend at this time, and that's really what our follow-through day indicator gives us, is that indication that, hey, the market is bullish right there, right? And that's what our follow-through day does. So, yeah, you have to kind of go with the market at this stage. Worth taking a position in Bitcoin on this upward trend? Well, I think it depends on what you're trying to do, Josh. Everything is really predicated on what you are trying to do. And if you want to be in for the next big run, I don't mind taking some positions around this area. If a pullback back down to maybe the 33 or 32 level is going to scare you, maybe you wait until this sets up. Because what we're noticing on the intraday time frames here is that we have a topping candle. Now we're likely to consolidate and or pull back. And we don't know what that's going to look like yet. So if we're able to hold up really high, say up above something like this, that's really bullish. If we're not going to drop back underneath the candle of our topping candle, the bottom of our topping candle, that's extra bullish. That's like 800-pound bull bullish. And odds are what'll happen is it'll probably consolidate for a day or so and then try to go back up. At that time, it's going to try to fight with 42,000 though. And that is going to be probably the major test. You'll probably see more volume come through on a 42K breakout. At this stage of the game though, I think it's too close to it to break out. I think we need a little bit more price action to get people comfortable. But if it goes through 42, you really got to make a tough decision, because if it goes through 42, there's a chance it doesn't stop. But the way I'm looking at it right now, the volume signatures aren't screaming at you that, hey, we're rocketing higher. Now, I will say this: we're only 2 hours and 11 minutes into this day, and look at the volume that we're putting in. So this could be one of those days where this kind of is your second. So you have this follow through day, and then now you're going to have a day maybe like this, right? Where your volume is higher than our follow through day. Now what you have is an upward trajectory in volume. That is something to pay attention to. 100%. If you're not looking at that saying, wow, this is good price action, then I don't know what to tell you. Looks really good. Josh says long term for sure, but if you think it's worth consolidating a little before taking a position, I'll wait. Well, I think, Josh, if you have that longer term time horizon, you can nibble a little bit now because we don't know if it's going to consolidate and pop up or if it's going to undertake this low. And because one of two situations is going to happen. Well, there's obviously more than two situations, but you're going to run into a situation where you hang up here for a couple days, then boom, you pop up again, which is really, really bullish. And if I remember right, maybe we'll look at a 20. Okay, I don't know. Somehow this triggered a memory, and I remember something like this happening. Maybe it was a lot of altcoins do this sometimes. A lot of altcoins will go into something and then basically have a BART, and then they'll BART straight back up. I'm not sure if Bitcoin's capable of that now with the way the liquidity situation is, but I mean anything's still possible. So not to completely discount that, but that's why I said if it does this, you're going to have a tough decision to make at 42. Because it's just gonna rip roar rally through. It'll probably stall at that point because everybody will jump in, and then it'll stall, probably fake some people out, and it'll probably do something like this, maybe come in a little bit, and then go on. And hey, look, that's a cup and handle pattern. So what I say about trading is that when you're looking at charts, it's essentially writing the book while you're reading it. It's kind of hard to do that. But if you can, project a couple potential futures, you're likely able to come to something. You're able to come up with a couple of scenarios and make plans around them. Is basically what you're looking at right there. So that's one scenario. Is that we kind of just bam pop right up, and then another scenario is that we consolidate in here for a little bit, retest something. Even maybe all the way back down here, and then start to go up again. And then here you'll have some type of a flag or whatever the case may be. You end up right there, and then we'll end up going back up. But I'm hoping at this moment in time, though, that we're essentially done with this little minor bear market. Now, we talked a little bit ago about this inverted head and shoulders scenario. Yeah, right here. See, it looks weird when you have too many lines. It's hard to see. We'll go back over here. Saved your butt at the end of 2017. Oh, nice, Michael. Well, glad to help, my friend. Glad to help. On our way to 80K? Yeah, we'll get there, Rick. We'll get there. It's hard to see Wyckoff distribution early in it. That's the funny thing about chart patterns and price action in general. You're living on the edge, right? You're always riding that edge, trying to analyze every day. And it's only obvious when it's obvious. So, so this is what I did in the show the other day. So, first of all, forget this price action, okay? Just forget that. That price action should never have happened. Coronavirus should never have happened. This drop never should have happened. In reality, this was really in nobody's plans. All right, maybe someone started to think of it here. Maybe that's what caused our correction coming out of this reversal pattern. But this shouldn't have happened. So likely what you can do is something like this if you're going to try to plan a, whatever. You can try to do something like that. You can try to, so here's the reversal. You break the trend line. Right, all this good stuff. Reversal, trend line break. You start to go up, and I don't, maybe this high would have popped up a little bit. But you know what this looks a lot like to me? Really big cup and handle. This looks like a extraordinarily large cup and handle with a breakout point right there at about 13K, right? So we probably should have broke out in July of last year, but we ended up breaking out in October because of coronavirus. So thanks coronavirus, but really say thanks to the Federal Reserve because they're the ones that saved the market, really. Otherwise, I don't know where we'd be today. I don't know if capitulation would have stopped there or not. It probably would have, but we probably would have ended up lower instead of right back immediately like the stock market. So in this situation, if you're arguing, okay, well, we have an inverted head and shoulders here with a 50% decline. Now, today we have an inverted head and shoulders with a 50% decline. Maybe you're looking for this more malaised but yet bullish price action going forward. Okay, now I don't know if these patterns would have been the same or not, but the upward trajectory, kind of how malaise this was, because this whole area was essentially met with just support at every pullback level. We popped up, kept pulling back. Here we had a shakeout, but we found support there, went up, found support at the low, and then just onward and upward we went. So that likely would have been something, we would have done something similar over here. Probably, bear market come up, give it some time to consolidate, make people bored, then boom, pop up. Kind of like what we just did. Made people a little bit bored, and then we kind of popped up. So that's what I'm thinking right now, is that I'm hoping we're good for lows at this stage of the game, and maybe we'll pop up to 42 and then come back down and go sideways for a couple of more months. And you know how Bitcoin likes to do something on December 17th. So let's make the call right now for something to happen on December 17th. I don't know what, but you could put in an argument that maybe that's when the next big pop will happen. Because Bitcoin loves the middle of December. It's kind of like I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. It's going to get me in trouble on social networks. What do you think of Bitcoin Cash? Garbage, Ben. I think Bitcoin Cash is garbage. Not because I have a personal vendetta against it, but because the price action is abysmal. It doesn't run. It barely pops. Bitcoin Cash used to lead Bitcoin by 5x. If you wanted to go 5x on Bitcoin, you would just trade Bitcoin Cash. When Bitcoin looked bullish, just buy Bitcoin Cash. It would go up 5x. When Bitcoin looked bad, you would sell Bitcoin and watch it drop 5x deeper than Bitcoin did. But lately, it's just been utter trash. Doesn't trend, pops randomly. The price action is abysmal. And I think one of the things about that is that it's every time I look at Bitcoin Cash, which is not very often, they seem to be doing another fork. They're forking Bitcoin Cash time and time again. For what reason, I don't know. But ever since the 51% attack on Bitcoin Cash, and that's another thing, it's really since that 51% attack, it just hasn't been the same. Literally hasn't been the same. Now, sure, it goes up with the market, but yeah, it just hasn't been the same. So I still analyze it every day because it's on the top 20, but it's not something that I actively look to trade in personally. I don't know if it's going to have to put in some really good price action in order to get my vote again on it. Negative interest rates coming once the inflation goes parabolic. Maybe, Chuck. As long as they control the printers, this market will never sink. So actually, Chuck, first of all, I think that takes more in traditional markets than it does in cryptocurrency. It will affect cryptocurrency, and I know what you're saying, and I generally agree with it because I'm actually writing an introduction to trading book, and I'll show you guys. I'll show it to you guys real quick because it kind of talks about what you're talking about there, and I'll just so you know I'm not messing with you. So what I mentioned here, I said, and here I could talk about the 1929 sell-off. So the 1929 recovery took 25 years because the government basically did nothing. Okay? And they learned that lesson, and they said that we have to do something, otherwise the economy is going to do nothing. So in 1929, they did nothing. In 2000, they basically lowered interest rates. That was all they did for the 2000 crash. And that may be why the bear market lasted about 3 years during 2000. But in 2008, they did a lot more. They lowered interest rates, they gave capital to banks, and they bought bonds. They were a little bit more aggressive than that, but that was the majority of what they did. But in 2020, what they did is they lowered rates, gave capital, bought bonds, bought other assets, lowered restrictions on what banks could use as collateral for their loans. And this is exactly right here what stopped us from going down in March of 2020. Exactly. You can almost look at the news timestamps and you're like, oh yeah, I can see that. So I'm with you on that. And here's what I had to say about that. If you look for the trends, you can see what's going on. In the future, the Fed is likely to be very active, and that is only good for stocks, even if it's bad for inflation and potentially everybody else, because while they're trying to save the economy, they're in a tough position. They've almost painted themselves into a corner now where they can't not keep rates low, and they can't raise interest rates, or they have to be okay with the stock market being in a bear market for 4 or 5 years. They're going to have to bite one bitter pill or another, and I don't know who's going to stop them from from printing. Trump wasn't going to do it. Biden's not going to do it. I doubt the next guy's going to do it too, or girl. You never know. But it looks like we're in a perpetual cycle where they're not going to let the markets drop. And I know why they're doing it. Everybody wants to be the popular kid, but it's generally not the wise thing to do. If you were to let the market go through a five-year bear cycle, I think that would probably wipe out. Now, it wouldn't wipe out any debt that we have, but in the markets, it would probably make things a lot more stable for the next 10, 15 years or so. So, bro, what about Tron? I don't know. Tron is I don't even think it's on my top 20 anymore. Hey, what up, Shiny? Climate change? Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, climate change is this weather's getting nuts. What was I gonna look at? Oh, Tron. Yeah, because it's not on. Tron. So I'm educated on kind of what these networks do, but I don't keep up on them every day. Pretty much from my understanding, Ethereum has 95% of the applications running BSC or Binance Smart Chain, probably has another 4%. And then everything else is everything else. Solana may take up a bunch of that. Tron pumped in the bull market because of BTT. I don't know if BTT pumped Tron or Tron pumped BTT, but either way, Tron isn't what everybody thought it was going to be. If you remember in 2017, you're looking at the networks and you were going, okay, these are all the cool networks. And what did everybody love? Let's go back to 2017 for a second. This should be fun. The weather, Ben? Dude, it's awesome. We just got some monsoons. It was 85 today. Absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be under 100 for the next week. So I'm going to do some stuff in the garage. It's going to be great. Let's go to... All right, so right here, yeah, let's take a look at some of these networks that were in vogue. So obviously Ethereum, IOTA, which, where's IOTA right now? Cardano, which is doing better at number 9. It's actually increased. So right now I have Ethereum and Cardano, Ethereum Classic, NEM, NEO, EOS, all of these. Actually, one of my most popular videos was in 2018, 2019, and it was talking about looking at these platform coins and showing people how to kind of read market trends. And all these platform coins were the ones that were in vogue, boom, boom, because they were fighting it out to say, okay, we know Ethereum's leading, but what's going to be the next platform coin that's really going to take the market to the next level? And at this stage of the game, we still don't know what that is. There's still a lot of contenders. You've got Cardano, which is starting to come out after years and years of development, and then what else? Polkadot maybe came out of the blue, and there's all kinds of other stuff. But NEM backed away. Ethereum Classic is basically a dead network. Neo isn't doing anything. EOS, Stellar, Qtum. Qtum's coming back with Solana, the Solana network. Solana. Omisego's gone. Lisk is gone. Waves is gone. And then, did I even see Tron yet? I don't even think I saw Tron back here. Where the hell's Tron? Oh, there, it's 66. So Tron is trash. Tron is just trash. I mean, if the market didn't mark it up between 2017 and 2021, the market knows a lot more than you and I do, and it's telling you that, hey, it's number 25. Oh, it's not doing too bad. This was in the top 20. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tron's a little bit more valuable, but from 66 to 25, so that's good. But it's still not in the top 10. What do you have in the top 10? You've got Ethereum and you've got Cardano, and I think Polkadot. But you can see who the market is valuing. They're valuing Cardano. So you kind of have to listen to that. I could listen to this all day. I want your hypothetical Federal Reserve collapse when the dollar morphs into the digital blockchain. Ooh, that's I haven't given a lot of thought to that, Chuck. Look, politically, blockchain is really interesting from a geopolitical perspective because you are seeing governments, what is it, Guatemala or Ecuador, one of those two, I think is going to use Bitcoin as its currency, which is really phenomenal. And I didn't think we'd get there that fast, that an actual nation would try to use El Salvador. There you go, Andy. Thank you for correcting me. I didn't think we'd get there that fast to the point where actual, like, El Salvador's a legit country. It's fairly corrupt and has a lot of bad stuff about it too, but it's a legit country, and for them to use a crypto, I mean, that's phenomenal. Because keep in mind, if you don't know why El Salvador is using Bitcoin as their currency, and I haven't read anything on this is just going off the top of my head, so maybe I'm wrong, but if you cannot support your own economy with your own currency, see, the US can support the US with the US dollar because we're a big ass economy. We have lots of natural resources. We're a leader in the world and everybody trusts us. So we can support ourselves. We can sell our bonds to people and raise cash that way. El Salvador, not so much. They do have some natural resources, but their government is corrupt and not too many people want to buy their bonds even. I mean, because if you're buying a bond that pays, if you're buying a bond that pays 20%, you're probably not a bond purchaser, because bond purchasers probably aren't going to buy something that's 20%, or if they do, they're going to buy such minute amounts of it just to bump up their bond portfolio. Thanks, Haim. Appreciate that. You don't trust us, Shiny? Where are you going to move then? You live here, so you got to live somewhere. If you don't trust where you live, you got to find a place to trust and move there. Because, yeah. Yeah, if I didn't trust the U.S., I'd be moving, but I think it's okay. But anyway, so if you can't support your own currency for whatever reason, you're going to have to use another currency. Now, there's, I think, 40-something countries, and I think this may change every once in a while, but there's 40-something countries that use the dollar as their currency because it's stable. It is stable. If there's one thing you want out of a government, out of a currency, you want stability. So El Salvador using Bitcoin actually says, okay, I trust this blockchain. It may not be stable, that, not as stable as the dollar, but I trust it. And I mean, that's got to say something. So not too bad right there. Not too bad right there. Oh, they use USD? They don't use their own currency? Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's an example right there of a country using United States dollars. I don't know what the 40-something countries are. I just know there's about 40 of them, and they use the dollar. And it's a great vote of confidence that they're using Bitcoin. And, maybe in the next 10 years, you'll see a few more countries going over there. But I don't know when I thought it would happen, but I didn't think it would be this soon. But lo and behold, here we are. So, I mean, Bitcoin, at this stage, I think the institutions are a lot more involved than we have been in the past. I think, especially the difference in price action over the past, 2 years now? Over the past 2 years. I think that is showing you that there's a lot more institutional involvement. You also have, Michael Saylor, who is essentially a Bitcoin cuck, and he's just pumping Bitcoin at everything. He's going to sell his kids. He's going to sell bonds against his kids to buy more Bitcoin, which is fine. I mean, you got to give him that. Oh, another thing that happened. Look at this. It held my trend line, guys. Look at that crap. That's crazy. It actually held it. We were talking about this yesterday too. That's amazing right there. It actually held my trend line. I've had this trend line up here for a long time. Yeah, I mean, just really good price. This trend is still intact, ladies and gentlemen. So I've got a method I've developed called the Pi method, and it's really an amazing method. I'll finish it 1 decade, but this trend line has to hold. If this trend line breaks, then the Bitcoin trend is completely shifting, and we were really on the verge of breaking that, and it was kind of giving me a little bit of fits for BTC here, but yeah, it held up really nicely. So anyway, I think we've evolved a little bit. I think that institutions are much more involved. Public companies are now. I mean, PayPal, Square. I know I'm not naming all of them. Tesla has some. I don't know why Domino's Pizza isn't accepting Bitcoin at this pace. I think there's a lot of companies that are going to be accepting Bitcoin. It's just going to become a thing, and it's not that Bitcoin is going to be utilized and supplant the US dollar. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that it'll just become a little bit more normal. Up to 2 million in crypto gains over the past 1.5 years. Wow, BMA. Wow, 1.5 years. What was your starting capital with that? So no leverage. So were you trading it or are you just holding it? Oh, if you got all the way down here. 1.5, that'd be down here, right? Yeah, so about 1,000%. So about 150,000 to start off with that. No, wait, that'd be 200,000. That's awesome. That's amazing. Good job, man. Good job. Yeah. I think there's more to come too. I really do. I was thinking today, I was I think I had this thought in the middle of the movie I was watching. Or maybe it was during the previews. It was kind of a weird time for me to. Oh, there's a guy in front of me who was on a Reddit crypto, and I could see on his phone. He's on a Reddit crypto thread. I'm like, oh, crypto guy. But I was thinking, I'm like, it's really unique to be at a point in time where you're at an apex where things change, right? Like, there's a recency bias to being a human, to where you think everything's going to happen to me and everything's going to happen today. That's why you see so many people that call for the end of the world, so many religious people that call for the end of the world based on scriptures. And they've been doing it for 1,000+ years, probably based on the same scriptures for 1,000+ years. And we're still here, and we're probably still going to be here for 1,000+ years. And in 1,000 years, those will still be people talking about the same scriptures in 1,000 years. So there's a recency bias to where everything has to happen to us. Like, you learn about the universe, you learn about world, society, religion, you learn about these things, and everything has to happen to us. So, like Chuck is talking about, when the Federal Reserve, hypothetically collapses, and digital blockchain, all that stuff, everybody thinks it's going to happen in our lifetime. Everyone thinks it's going to happen now. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, and I think you can prepare for that. I think it's fully fine to prepare for the world ending, for Christ's return, for the dollar to go under, for aliens to land. You can prepare for that. Go ahead and spend some time on that, but that shouldn't be the end all to what you do until you see it actually start to happen. But where we are right now is legitimately in a spot where the world is changing before our eyes. It actually is. China's looking at a digital currency, and I could go on and on, right? You guys know this stuff. But we're really in a unique situation. And what made me think about that is what BMA said about, he's made so much money with no leverage. That's because we're in a really unique time. And I don't really necessarily think we're early anymore. People always say, oh, we're early in the BTC story. I think we're past that. I think early was 2017. I think right now we're kind of in the middle of it, the early middle. I think we're past early. I think we're in the early middle. So, Bitcoin's going to get to a higher level, and it's not going to sustain these types of price appreciations forever. Eventually, we get to kind of an equilibrium point, kind of like gold. You know how gold doesn't do anything anymore, even though we've inflated $3 trillion over the course of a year or so? Didn't do anything. Gold did nothing. So, gold is kind of losing its hedge a little bit. I think it's going into Bitcoin. So things change a little bit, and I think we're in the precipice. We're right in the middle of that change. So it's hard to see when you're in the middle of something. It's almost like a fish in water just swimming around, and then somehow pops up and goes, "What the fuck's up here?" Like it's like air. You're like, I've been in water this entire time. Like, to them, it's just normal. So to us, crypto is just normal, a little bonkers, and a little scary because the future is unknown. But it is a really unique time in history where things really are truly changing, and our technology is getting to the point where, really, I've never thought about this before. Think about what the blockchain represents. Think about that. The blockchain represents a human being giving over control to a computer. Now, granted, humans wrote the code, but giving over control to a computer, that's pretty profound. If you're going to make distributed systems that essentially have a life of their own, almost an artificial intelligence, and I'm sure we'll get there, on a blockchain that is immutable, and you trust your assets to that blockchain, and in the future you'll probably end up trusting your life in some way, shape, or form. Your car notes are going to be on there. Your housing deed is going to be on a blockchain somewhere in the next 20, 30 years. I fully believe in all of that. So you're basically trusting your livelihood to blockchain. And once again, we're right in the early stages of it. So I think it's pretty amazing. We won't survive our own reprobates in high places. You have gone over my head. Congratulations, Sling. But many advocate that gold's moment is coming. Yeah, people advocate lots of stuff all the time. And I'm a technician. Let's look at gold. I know we've been staring at this chart while I sit here and ponder the meaning of the universe with you guys, and thanks for staying with me. But let's take a look at gold. I'm not even mad at gold. Actually, we had some pretty good gold trades when we broke up, from this level. Right? Yeah, right about there. We had a pretty nice gold trade. think it was this leg. I don't know. I think maybe it's this leg we took. I think I took this leg. I think that was the leg I took. I didn't take that leg. But, I mean, gold's in an okay place, right? From a technical perspective, it's not bad. Gold isn't, it's not dying on a vine. That's kind of your trend. You could even arguably go right there and try to give yourself a falling wedge, I guess. Falling wedge on gold, which is arguably bullish. And maybe we're in a little cup and handle. I mean, gold's going to appreciate. I'm not saying that gold is stuck down here forever. But if you look at, like if I were to add in the M2 money supply, where is it at? Did I miss it? Did I skip it over? Nah, let's look at CFD, stock, futures. Oh, weekly cup and handle. Where's the M2? Doesn't want to put it on there? Huh. Maybe it's just on compare. I could probably do M2 monies. No, it should give me the same stuff. Why can't it bring up the money supply? I think it's got, you know what? Oh, economy. Here we go. M2. Oh, okay. Money stock. There we go. M2SL. Let's see if I can do that. Maybe it won't let me add it. Ah, there we go. Okay, so you got the money supply right there, right? Let's try to zoom out. Let's go to monthly. I was doing some other stuff today, so I got the monthly chart up here. So, oh yeah, there's your cup and handle, huh? There you go, Andy. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could have its day coming. You just got to yeah, just go on the breakout like anything else. And see, here's the funny thing, guys, at the end of the day, and this is hilarious when you think about it. Hey, there's exactly half as many likes as there is viewers. If you guys are still around, hit that like button. Um, here's the funny part is that almost no matter what way I try to spin something, and this isn't always the case, but almost always, whenever I try to find another way to approach the markets and another way to try to get something, it always comes back to some kind of a pattern. It always comes back to some kind of a technical level that if we've been doing, analysis on an asset like a Bitcoin's a great example. We always come back to the same levels. It's kind of funny. Not every time, but a good majority of the time. It always comes back to the same thing. It's like, oh, cup and handle, well, guess what? The trend line I drew is still valid. It's still a very valid level. Can we use crypto to buy food after the dollar collapses? Yeah, see, here's the funny thing about that, my friend. If the dollar collapses, we're all screwed. There's nothing you can do. There's unless you went all in on prepping and just have stockpiled bullets for years and have grown your own food. And I mean, you've really got to go all in. If you think society is going to collapse, and if the dollar collapses, essentially Western society is going to collapse for a little while. You got to be completely self-reliant. I don't know what it's going to look like. It could just look like people. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it may not be pretty. And see, that's one of the downfalls, I think, to capitalism. That's maybe the only and maybe the biggest downfall is that when it's funny, modern society right now is running just fine. Like, let's open my window. What's out here? I got my tree, my tree house. I got my neighbor's cars. Their lights are on. Sprinklers are probably going to come on in a little bit, which means water's flowing. But guess what happens when an arbitrary thing happens that isn't tangible and physical, like money collapsing? Everyone stops working. Like, it's good from the perspective that, yeah, I get it. We got to make stuff. We need to have innovation. I love that. I love that part about capitalism. I think it is one of the best engines to make forward or society go forward. But at the same time, if society stops, then capitalism didn't do us any good. It's like, it's just kind of funny. It's like capitalism's so great until you take away the money aspect of it, and then no one gives a shit about one another unless you have a dollar, and then we're just going to let everybody die. I think that's hilarious. Not specific to capitalism, that's a function of complex civilization. See the Bronze Age collapse. Yeah, but it has to do, maybe not. Yeah, maybe capitalism is wrong. Now these are really big topics. I don't want to go super deep, but the point remains that anytime you have a system that values something over people, you end up in some type of a collapse scenario, and it just, everyone just dies and falls apart. No one looks out for one another. We really do look for strong leadership as a society. We are pack animals. You really can't get over that, because they'll create their own currency based on blockchain with 5G network and AI control. Wow, that's a lot of buzzwords right there. So anyway, so yeah, back to reality. All right, so yeah, Bitcoin just popped up. I mean, I think this is a pretty important day, and it's really early in the day. I think it's pretty important. The move up today was good, and see, there's that nice tight action I was talking about. So far looking good. We're not selling off. If this was not a reaction of quality, we would be selling off substantially right now. We would come up a little bit and then just start to fold. But so far we're not doing that. We could do it at some later point, but so far so good for this move. Looks pretty good. What else is moving out there? We've got Theta's been kind of on its own little blockbuster run. We did just stall at resistance. There we go. So we did just stall at resistance, and but Theta had a beautiful run off the lows, coming down from 350 up to $6, basically doubling on you in about a week or so. So really great move there. Matic was doing okay. Looks like it's still doing good here. Broke out from our alert at the 94,881 and holding on strong. Also looks really good. So even as Bitcoin is doing good, some of the alts are hanging along with it. Ethereum lagging a little bit, down 5 per, or I'm sorry, up 5%, but still underneath BTC. I think some of these alts are probably going to chop in a range for a while. Bitcoin's already been in the range, and hopefully it's trying to break out of it right now. You see Ethereum underneath this intermediate high, kind of a swing high. Bitcoin's gone over it, so that shows you a little bit that Bitcoin is a little bit more bullish than some of these altcoins, and that's also what you see in the Bitcoin dominance. Wes says, beauty of capitalism is that it happens all the time with or without government. Voluntary transactions between people is natural. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I think capitalism is good. I think capitalism is generally good. I think every system has its flaws. And the only thing that can check capitalism is a governmental system. So you have to have checks and balances. And the problem is that if government gets too much control, then it can end up killing capitalism. Some people are arguing that's happening right now. I don't think we're close to that yet. I don't think we're close to that yet. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. You never know. But I think that's also why it's good to have differing viewpoints in government. So that's about it. Nature will check capitalism. It's just not pretty. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was saying. Like, without. So if you've got a commune with 7 billion people in it and everyone's working for the good of everybody else, society's not going to collapse, right? It's probably not. Like, it's a big commune. Obviously, the PA system has to be wired and it has to be huge, but it's it's probably not going to collapse if we're all in it for each other. But with capitalism, we're not in it for each other. That's the downfall to capitalism. And yeah, Shiny's right. It's not just capitalism. A lot of societies did that. Bronze Age, when you had really big societies and they were using different things for currencies and stuff like that. So, like, I don't want to go too deep down on it. According to Nomics, Hex is the top 3 cryptos. You got to check it out. I am familiar with Hex. Actually have it up here. I was looking at it earlier today. So there's Hex. I think Hex is in an okay place. I don't think it's doing too bad right now. Hex had a correction, and it's just chilling. I got really nothing bad to say about Hex. We got a member. We got a member who is balls deep in Hex and enjoying every second of it right now. So probably some other guys in the Power Hour, or maybe in there too, that haven't spoken up. But yeah, Hex is doing its thing, man. That Pulse chain is coming out. I don't know. I don't know when the snapshot's taking place. Maybe it's taking place here pretty soon. But they're essentially forking Ethereum, and we'll see what happens with it. Yeah, I don't know about that. But Hex is doing good. It's well within trend. Actually, I drew this trend line today. I'm like, oh, look at that. We pulled back right to that prior high. Standard operating procedure if you do technical analysis. So far, the trend is still intact for Hex. Nothing bad to say about it. No rug pulls yet. It's been going on a year and a half, and it's up a quadrillion %. it's it's just up so big, it's ridiculous. So I think it'll continue. I think it has enough fans right now and enough of an ecosystem that it'll go like every other crypto. It'll fail at some point. It'll have a big correction, a very big correction likely, but lots of volume stepped in here and it's been able to sustain. So you got to respect it. Humans can handle groups larger than the Dunbar number. I'm not sure what the Dunbar number is, but yeah, we're definitely interesting. The U.S. is socialism for the poor and capitalism for the rich corporations. Socialism for the poor. Um, the U.S. is an interesting dichotomy. I mean, in reality, it's not one or the other. The U.S. is everything to all people. I mean, there's a lot of poor people that don't pay any taxes, and there's a lot of corporations that don't pay any taxes. There's a lot of wealthy people that forego taxes forever. So it's kind of it's if you know how to work the system, it's really good for you. It's not one or the other. The United States is complicated. It's very complicated. That's why CPAs make so much damn money. If the USA was not complicated, CPAs wouldn't have a job, and you'd have the whole postage. Who was the one guy that wanted to put everything on the taxes on a postcard and mail them in? Sounds good in theory, but in practice, it's not going to happen. Um, so yeah, it's complicated. Not going to go too deep into that. I see gaming getting bigger in the crypto space. Yeah, maybe. Okay, guys, check this out. If you guys haven't been watching AXS, you are living under a rock. What's it doing today? It's down 10%. Oh, it finally had a drop. There we go. Okay, cool. So AXS, we caught AXS in the power hour early, actually. Um, we caught it right here when it was crossing the 207.26. I kind of ignored it prior to that because it was just running up and some things were popping up, but I noted a little bit late. But anyway, so we had an alert at 207.26 as it broke that, and it really came straight through right here. So Bitcoin right now is hanging out about here. If it were to run straight through, they would look a little bit like AXS. And this thing has just gone absolutely gangbusters. Just phenomenal. Went up as high as 660% in a really short period of time. And if you guys don't know about AXS, about 3 weeks. If you guys don't know about AXS, it is a kind of like a card playing game online on a blockchain, NFT. So you own your cards, and really just an amazing run it's had. You can buy land in it that does something. I don't know. I couldn't really find it out without actually playing the game. I didn't feel like jumping through those hoops. Some guys paid like $1.5 million for, I don't know if it was for one plot of land or for different plots of land. So I think ever since then, this thing has been on a massive rally. And actually, we have NFT games here on my Cyan list. And there's a few of them that have been looking really good. You have ILV. What is that? What is that? That's making my charts all janky. Is that it moving it? Oh, that's monetary supply. Okay, there we go. So I mean, look at the run this thing had. This thing also a blockbuster on 250%. AXS is the leader in this group, however, and by all accounts, the AXS game is pretty garbage. I don't know if it's gonna improve or get more popular, but in reality, I don't know. This could have been like the best pump and dump scheme of all time. I don't know, but a lot of these are NFT names, and it looks like they're kind of taking a hit right now to BTC. Unfortunately, Alice, we put an alert on this today at 38,074. TLM, Cheese, all of these are NFTs, and I think it's going to. I missed Skill from Crypto Blades. What's Crypto Blades? I did miss Skill. I'm not sure what that is. So anyway, these runs may be over. I don't know. We're keeping an eye on them every day, but really a tremendous run on AXS and just really good textbook stuff in my opinion. Excellent textbook stuff. No major exit signal up here though, so I think we could still try to come back. I half expected us to fail, but we had no major exit signal, so we stayed with it and ended up reversing on the upswing there and ended up having a really good secondary run right there. So what's skill? Hmm. I don't see what skill is. Crypto Blades. Oh, Crypto Blades is skill. Oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha. What is this one? Oh, it's gaming. See, it wasn't on the list. Oh, geez. Yeah. So what is it called? Skilled. Okay, that's the symbol. Wasn't on there. So it's on. Oh, okay, it's on a Binance or Pancake Swap. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's crazy. So what is it? Actually, I can pull it up here probably. Crypto Blades. Jeez, look at that thing. Holy crap. Look at that beautiful flag, cup, and handle, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, basically 100x'd. Holy crap, that's crazy. It's still it 100x'd and it's ranked 317. Man, my question is who got that? Because that's nuts. That's absolutely bonkers. So, looks like they're in this gaming sector. Oh, there's AXS. So they were in there. There's ILV. So there's AXS. So they're leading by a long shot, 2.5. They were under mana. It ranked 250 something when we first saw them, and now they're ranked number 42. So they're ranked 350 something, 300 something. Oh, there's skill. Yeah, look at that. Wow. We looked at this list and that chart, I didn't see it. It's so hard to look through everything, and then trade that. It's very difficult. But you know what? If you do the hard work, man, you get the reward. So if you sat here and went through all of these, once you saw AXS booming and you saw skill and you got rewarded, God bless you. Good job. FARA looks like it's putting in a good chart right there. Look at that. Mist. Mist is up substantially, about 500% in the past 7 days. We could probably rank this by 7 to 8 percentage gain. D&D doesn't even show on the chart barely anymore. 700%, 400%, 400%, 300%, 300%, 300%. Really good stuff. So Mist, yeah, number 2 in that category. Dungeon Swap, another gaming token. Also on the Binance Smart Chain. Oh, yep, Pancake Swap. There's a lot of NFTs on Pancake Swap, apparently. The problem is that if we see it, it's probably already too late if you see it right now, unfortunately. We were looking at this too, but we didn't look at we didn't look through all the dozens of coins that are like this. So I don't know, maybe find one that's really low and take a gamble on it. Put, I don't know, whatever, put 1% on a few coins and I guess see what it does if you like the work that it's putting in. So, but most of these at this stage are probably pretty mature. CNS, is that another one? I don't see it. It didn't. I just did a search for it. It didn't give me CNS. Yeah, it doesn't like it. So I don't know. All right, let's get back to BTC. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. Bitcoin hold nice and strong. Our show today brought to you by My Real Crypto Power Hour. This is actually the Power Hour page. So with the Power Hour, if you guys don't know about the service, it's where I go through the markets every single day, live at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time or 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And what we do is we go through the markets. I go through about 200 charts every day. I pick out the best charts, put them on a newsletter, send that to you. And then you have a link for the Power Hour live show that we do every single day, and where we put alerts on everything, and the alerts are served through our Slack chat room. So that's kind of how the deal works. We go through everything. We talk about all kinds of trading educational things, up and coming stuff in the market. We talk about potential for Bitcoin, kind of like what we've done here today for the most part, except we do have a routine that we go through and we try to keep up with the trends in the market. For instance, if going back to AXS, we had AXS on the newsletter, like I said, as of that day right there on July 3rd. We had AXS on the newsletter. I think I missed 1 day on the way down here. I think maybe 2 days, but staying with us every day, trying to stay with the trends of the market is really important. Noticing Bitcoin falling apart and trying to make plans for that. And then as it doesn't fall apart, noticing our follow-through day system, which we also go through that in depth. and I have videos about how that works, the follow-through day system. And the follow-through day system is essentially a way to kind of time the Bitcoin market and notice when we're potentially going into a bull trend and potentially going into a correction. So the follow-through day system is a way to time distribution days in the market. And actually, one of our members, Monkeytron, was nice enough to go ahead and code our follow-through day system. And so you can see the distribution days and the potential follow-through days. And there's a system here where you essentially time the markets, and you can get out and get back in at opportune moments. And this big green arrow was our follow-through day right there. And yeah, so far so good on the follow-through day. The system isn't perfect. No system is. But this last follow-through day, so far, so good. I think this was a follow-through day. That one obviously failed. And follow-through days can fail. But no uptrend is started without a follow-through day. So, and this is derived from the stock market, but I adopted it to crypto. And so far, it's done a really, really good job for us. And yeah, so I think Bitcoin's in a pretty good spot. And yeah, so that's the Power Hour, guys, in a nutshell. So if you want to up your trading game a little bit faster, and get some input by myself and some other members in the community, if you want to ask some questions about trading, really anything, we'll talk about anything. We do an hour every day. Lately, as the market's been a little malaise, we've done about half hour to 40 minutes. Some days we go longer than that if the market requires it. But it's really about you guys and I try to keep things on an even keel and try to help everybody out the best that I can to give a pretty balanced perspective on the markets and what I see as good potential opportunities. So if you're interested in that, check out my website, real-crypto.com. Of course, it's going to take a minute to load, and you can click on the services section, and then the Real Crypto Power Hour is right there for you. All right, so Paulo says CNS was on Tron and now is on BSC. Price is very low. So is it a game? Not sure if... I guess I could just type it here, huh? Centric swap. Geez, it's very low. I would argue 1 million market cap. What do you like about this thing? Oh, it's NFTs and collectibles, yield farming. So it does a little bit of everything, huh? I think my soup's cold by now. Yeah, I'll have to warm it up. It's a little cold. An hour and 12 minutes. Man, time flies when you're having fun. This has been fun. Conceived in December 2017, huh? So whatever they do, I don't know. So they do a little bit of everything, yeah. Okay, well, when price action starts to get pretty bullish on a name like this is when I get interested. So, my recommendation would be on something like this, especially, it's not that mature. It's a little less than a year old. It's coming up on a year pretty soon. But if it ever gets any bullish price action, that's where you can start paying attention to it. I don't invest in anything that I like. I invest in things that the market likes. And so this one is, out of it for me. All right, you out of here, Alex? Yeah, me too, bud. Me too. I got to get out of here too. So, all right, guys. Thank everyone for the in the Slack chat room for asking me to do this stream. I thank you guys for asking me to do this stream. It was fun, and yeah. So, guys, consider joining the show. If not, you can join the Slack chat room if you haven't already. I forgot to mention that earlier. You can go to the homepage of my website, and actually, I think my link may be broken. So you can join the community for free right there if you want to and get in on the Slack chat room. If it's not working for whatever reason, you can hit me up at Randy at Real Crypto, Randy at real-crypto.com, and I'll send you a link directly if someone's interested in getting the Slack chat room if you're not already in there. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for joining me. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time.